it stopped recording when I said a bunch of nonsense about I don't put highlighter on my face until the end because I rest my hand on it. And then I talked a bunch about all the eye makeup palettes I have. I'm a rambler. And I said I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, which I haven't used in a very long time. And I'm going to be using this, right? It's getting cold now? Yeah. I got worried. I was like, no. We didn't take the Audi because we needed AC to be consistent. No way is the Mini just all of a sudden going to break on us. Okay. So the reason I chose the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette is because I tend to get very, very excited when I see all the different makeup that I have, and I always end up turning my nude looks into these like full-blown, explosive, highly pigmented smoky eyes. And this is a 9-year-old birthday party. So even though we're going to do glitter and it is a full face, I did want to keep it somewhat muted and neutral and all that jazz. And you just kind of, I don't want to say you can't go too crazy with this palette, but as long as you stay here on this end, you're closer. You're close. I'm covered in glitter. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of makeup brushes I'm going to be using, including, go figure, the actual brush that came with this palette. I really like this as a kind of packer brush. I don't always use it, but it's good to have it on hand. I have this super, super fluffy, blendy unicorn brush, and then two more. One is an angled, and one is a more dense, fluffy brush. And this one's from SHANY. This one is from I don't know where. Again, 100 years old, like all my brushes. So I'm gonna first dip into Strange, which is the lightest, it's almost like a white. No, it's not almost a white, it is a white. It's a beautiful white. And I am going to do my entire eyelid with it. Okay. So under the brow bone, the full lid. This is a much more powdery formula than I remember, which is one of my absolute favorite things about the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia, aside from the fact that the colors are just to die for. And I know people are getting sick of like those kind of warmer fall tones, but those are the best ones on my skin tone, so they never get old for me. But the formula of those eyeshadows is it's magnificent. It's really magnificent. They're creamy, they're highly pigmented, they're very well blended, easily blendable. Oh, the freaking sun moved again. Go back to where you were. And fix this situation. That's not good. Okay, and then we'll take a little bit of Limits and Nooner. What do we think that means? Nooner.
Like sex in the afternoon.
Like sex in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
Sure. Sounds good.
Alright. You know, I did that whole, I did like a whole skincare thing yesterday to prepare for this. And my skin is just peeling. Even though this is like more powdery than I remember, it's still blending. It is pigmented though, my goodness. And for those, I tapped it right in front of the vent. Not the way to go. I just blew all the powder at me.
That's one way to put your makeup. Bonk!
For those who know me, you can see I already kind of overblew this out because I have partially hooded eyelids, so I bring my makeup a little higher, and then to try to justify that, I smoke it out and sometimes I over smoke it out. It's like, you know. The way the makeup is sitting on my nose today is atrocious. So I really like this. I don't think I actually want to, I don't want to mess with it too much. I'm just going to clean up that top line with the white. Any more than this, and it'll be a little cray-cray. And then I'm going to use that powder, that bronzed by e.l.f. again. I'm going to use the lightest shade of that highlight, and I'm just going to bring it into my brow bone there. Kind of doesn't look like it's working. Whatever. And then the packer brush that I said we might not use, we're going to use, I'm going to dip right into the lightest color here, which is Dust. It's like a super pearlescent pink. Take that on the lid here. This was always one of my favorite colors in this palette for inner corner highlight. But now we're going to use highlighter for that. Pretty darn good. And then I'm going to use the other side of that brush and dip into, well, I can't read it anymore, Buzz and Trick, which are two of the metallics. I'm going to take that underneath. Nice and subtle. That stupid face I'm making under the eye. Any kind of eye work. I did it! I did a subtle eye look. Hooray! There's makeup over everything. Okay, and then the last part of this look is going to be putting the glitter on. Okay, and for the glitter, I am going to be using, of course, the Magnificent Metals by Stila. I'm using Smoldering Satin today. You put this on, let it dry, and actually before we put it on, I am going to curl my eyelashes. I am not using falsies today because that sounds like a freaking nightmare. Can you imagine? Probably stab myself in the eye. Oh, it's motorcycles. I was like, what's that farting noise?
What's that farting noise?
What's that farting noise? Just motorcycles. You know, with no helmets on at 70 miles per hour. Those people be crazy. Anyway, I'm not using falsies today because that sounds like a nightmare in the car, and it's a kid's birthday party, and it's Florida, so it's gonna be, you know, 100 degrees outside. And more importantly, I finally got my hands on the Lash Paradise by L'Oreal that everybody's been going crazy over and recommending, so I am gonna finally try that. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so Magnificent Metals all over the eyelid. And this is one of those great tools if you want to do like a cut crease.